Good morning. My name is David Curl with Turning Technologies. Today we're going to be going over PowerPoint polling using TurningPoint. I just want to let you guys know that I am recording this session. We'll send a link to rewatch the video tutorial as many times as you'd like. If you do have any questions throughout my presentation, please do not hesitate to send them in via the chat window or the question window provided by GoToMeeting. At the end of my presentation, I will unmute everyone, and therefore you could actually ask your question if you desire. I will also break up the training into multiple sessions or sections as well. That way, if you do have any questions pertaining to a specific area, I'll be able to answer it immediately. Like I said, my name is David Curl. I'm a client success leader here at Turning Technologies. My main role is to help you guys utilize the Turning Point system as much as possible. Today we're going to be going over PowerPoint polling. So one of the very first things I always like to do when I'm doing a training is give an example of the technology in action. So before Turning Point existed, you'd walk into your meeting, your conference room, your classroom, you'd ask a question. You might only get one or two responses. Turning Point came around and completely changed that, where you could ask a question to the audience, similar to what's being displayed right now, and gather feedback from everyone that is attending. Instant feedback. So you know as the instructor or the presenter that if you ask a question and everyone gets it correctly, they're doing a good job and you carry on to the next subject matter. But if you ask a question and everyone misses it, or a majority of the people miss it, you know that maybe you should go back and retouch some of those finer points. So here at Turning Technologies, we want you to be able to ask a question. We want the participants to respond whether they're using a handheld clicker or any web-enabled devices. We want to immediately display those results for instant feedback for you and the audience members. And then after everything is said and done, go over those detailed reports and analytics. So I like to break the training down into three groups: before a presentation, during a presentation, and after a presentation. So the before presentation, I'm going to show you guys how to create a Turning Technologies account, download and install the Turning Point software, and create your first Turning Point slides. During a presentation, I'm going to go over setting up hardware and web-enabled devices, running through your whole entire presentation, and saving your session data after it's all said and done. And then last but not least, I'm going to go over the after a presentation. We're going to go over opening reports, looking at the analytics, and exporting those reports. Now, before we go any further, I am going to pause for a minute or two to see if any questions have come in. There doesn't appear to be any questions, so let's dive right into it to before a presentation. So I'm going to exit out of everything, and we're going to go and create a Turning Technologies account. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to our website, www.turningtechnologies. In the top right-hand corner is the sign in button. You're going to click sign in, and you're going to sign in and create a Turning Technologies account. So give me 1 second because I'm already signed in. I'm going to sign out so you can see what it looks like. Here we go. So once you get on in the sign in button, it's going to say instructor, hit getting started. It's going to prompt you for your email address. So make sure you use your university email address or your organization's email address and create an account. This is very basic account creation information. Your email address, it's going to have you create a password. It's then going to send you an email to confirm that is a legitimate email address. Once you do that, you click on that link in the email, and it's going to take you directly into your Turning Technologies account. So once you're inside your Turning Technologies account, it'll look like this. Now, there is a lot of information here being displayed. Majority of it has to do with higher education, college students, on how they integrate with their learning management system. But for this presentation, we're just going to download and install the Turning Point software. So we're going to come up to the top left-hand corner where it says Downloads, select it, and it's going to open up our download page. Now you will see that there are multiple versions of Turning Point. Our newest version is Turning Point 8. Now we also have multiple versions of Turning Point 8. We have a Mac version, we have a PC version, install and no install. So if you are using a Mac computer, make sure you download and install the Turning Point 8 Mac version. If you're using a personal computer, you have the install, you have the no install. Now they both have the same functionality, okay? The only difference is that the PC install installs the program on your computer like any other program you've ever installed before, right, on your C drive. The no install version is a little bit different. So it's going to install a zip folder on your desktop with the software in it. You could run the whole entire program through that zip folder. What's unique about it through the zip folder, though, is you can take that zip folder, move it onto a flash drive, a thumb drive, move it onto another computer, and run the whole Turning Point program through that computer or through that thumb drive. Now, there's no limitations to the number of times you can download the software. So if you want to do the install, the no install, the Mac version, go crazy. Download as many times as you want. Put it on as many computers as you like. I am going to pause for a moment to see if any questions have come in regarding the different versions of Turning Point. No questions so far, so let's jump right back into it. Oh, I did have a question come in asking if the internet is required to download and install and use the Turning Point software. The internet is not required. When we're going through the installation process, which I'll go over in a minute, it gives you the ability to create an offline password. If you create an offline password, Turning Point no longer needs to be connected to the internet to work unless you are using web-enabled devices as virtual clickers. So we'll go over that in a minute. Great question, though. Thank you. So once we download and install the Turning Point software, it's going to install an application or an icon that looks like this in the middle of my screen. We're going to double click on it. Now, the first time you open this up, there are going to be some additional windows. So I'm going to walk you through this. So first thing you do, when you double click on the icon, it's going to ask you to select a region. Please select the region that is associated with you. Next, it's going to have you prompt for that offline password. I highly recommend creating an offline password. I also highly recommend it being the exact same password as your online password. Don't overcomplicate it, just make it the same. From there, it's going to ask you if you'd like to remember your credentials. This is a personal preference. If you say yes, the next time you double click on that Turning Point icon, it's going to say Turning Point Hello in your name. All you have to do is hit the continue button, and it is going to load up our Turning Point dashboard. So here's our dashboard. Lots of information, but we'll break it down for you. In the very center are our three polling environments. PowerPoint polling, which is what I'm going to be going over today. Anywhere polling. So if you use anything other than PowerPoint, Google Slides, Mac Keynote, maybe you have a PDF file that has some great questions on it, Anywhere polling is going to be your best friend because it is a floating toolbar. Next, we have our self-paced polling. Think of self-paced like creating an examination, a survey that you can send out to individuals that they can complete at their own pace. So someone could be on question 1, someone could be on question 20, and someone might have completed it an hour ago. So the first two polling environments, PowerPoint polling and Anywhere polling, are instructor or presenter led. You are leading them through the presentation. With self-paced, you're just starting it and they're completing it when they have time. So let's jump right into it. What we're going to do is we're going to select our polling environment that we're going to be using, which is going to be PowerPoint polling. We select it. It is going to open and launch PowerPoint for us. So we are completely integrated in with PowerPoint. So from right here, this is what you would normally see when you come into PowerPoint. And when I mean we're completely integrated, we are this add-in at the very top, right here where it says Turning Point. So because we are completely integrating with PowerPoint, you don't have to throw out your old presentations, right? Presentations you spend time on. You don't have to start from scratch. You can open them up and use them just like you normally would with any other normal PowerPoint. So let's open up a presentation. We go up to File, Open, find your presentation you'd like to use, and let it open. You're going to go about business as normal. Now, when it comes time in your presentation that you want to insert a question slide, a turning point slide into your presentation, that is when you're going to use the turning point ribbon in the top middle of the screen. So it takes 5 steps to insert an interactive slide in your presentation. The first step is just selecting the ribbon, turning point. The second step is come all the way over to the top left-hand corner where it says New and selecting the type of question you would like to ask your audience. Multiple options in there. We have multiple choice, short answer, numerical response, true, false, essay, demographic assignment, priority ranking, lacquered, icebreaker. To select which type of question you'd like to ask. For my first example, I'm going to do a demographic assignment question. Once you select it, it is going to insert a slide into my presentation matching my background, my colors, my fonts for me automatically. All I have to do is step 3, where it says enter question text. Just click on it, it highlights it for you, and type in your question. Step 4, where it says enter answer text, click in it, type in your answer choices, up to a total of 10. And don't worry, spell check still works. And then last but not least, step 5, you just want to click anywhere outside of this answer text box, anywhere outside of it, and it's going to format the graph to match accordingly. Now, because this is just a normal PowerPoint, you can still adjust stuff like you normally would, right? You don't like where that's located, raise it up. You don't like how the graph's fitting on the slide, make it smaller, make it bigger, adjust it, put it where you want it to be. This is still just PowerPoint. From there, your presentation is ready to go. You're ready to start collecting data from your audience. But let's do a quick recap. So we're going to open up Turning Point. We're going to select our PowerPoint polling for our polling environment. It will open PowerPoint for us. From there, we're going to either open up an existing presentation or start from scratch like we normally would, go about business as normal. When it comes time for your presentation that you want to insert an interactive slide into it, you're going to do step 1, select the Turning Point ribbon. Step 2, go all the way over to the top left-hand corner where it says New. Select the type of question you'd like to ask. Let's do multiple choice this time. It inserts that slide for us automatically. All we have to do where it says enter question text is click on it, type in our question. Next, enter our answer text. Ooh, my spelling is horrible today. And then click anywhere outside of this answer text box for it to format the rest of the graph. I am going to pause for a moment before we go over a little bit further, more advanced stuff. Does anyone have any questions as of yet? So a question came in, can I create a new polling slide during a live presentation? The answer is yes, and we will go over that when we're going over the actual presenting part of the presentation. So give me 5 minutes. Question came in, any way to change the default font that will work on all Turning Point slides inserted, or do I have to do this one slide at a time? So you can do this in the master slide by setting what the default font is. It's more of a PowerPoint thing than a Turning Point. I think it's done underneath the view and then the slide master. So you can do that, adjust the font so it changes it across the board. All right, so let's jump right back into it. So once we have our slide built, right, it gives us some options on the right-hand side. This right here is called the Turning Point slide pane. These options customize the specific slide that you have selected. So I'm going to select a non-Turning Point slide. There is nothing there. And then back to a Turning Point slide. All these fun options. So initially when you first do it, it might even look like this. And if you just click on the little triangles, opens them up. So right here at the bottom, where it says A, B, C, D, E, no value. This section right here coincides with the answer section on the actual slide. So this is where you're going to mark the correct answer. And you always want to mark the correct answer first because then it changes all the other no values to incorrect. So what day is it? Today is B, Tuesday. So we come over on the right-hand side where it says B, no value, and we change this to correct. Doing this changes all the other answer choices to incorrect. Now, if you do have a question that has multiple correct answers, just simply change it to match. Now, marking the correct answer over here on the right-hand side does not display anything to the audience. This is for the back end, the reporting, the analytics. Okay? So if you want to display a correct answer to the audience, you need to insert an object that we call a correct answer indicator. Now, to make your lives easier, we put all the different types of objects that you could insert into our interactive slides underneath the same drop-down menu. In the top left-hand corner is the objects drop-down. Lots of options in there. You can change the different types of charts in here, but the very first option is correct answer indicator, multiple options in there as well. You can even do your company logo as a correct answer indicator or your university's logo. But for my example, we're just going to do a simple check mark. Select it. Because we already marked the answer on the right-hand side, it knows where it has to go magically, automatically. Now, the next little section up here where it says correct point value, incorrect point value, this is where you get assigned a specific slide a certain amount of points. For example, let's say this was a more complicated question, right? So we come over here to correct point value. We can make this question worth 10 points just by putting a 10 in there. Incorrect point value, we can actually penalize the individuals for getting this answer wrong by putting a negative number in here. So let's say if they miss this, they get a negative 2 points. Now there are other options in here as well. Underneath the polling options, you have automatically open polling, show results. By default will be checkmarked for you. I highly recommend keeping them that way. Automatically open polling, all this means is that when you're going through your presentation and you come to a turning point slide, polling automatically opens up for you. Next is the show results. From here, all this means is the graph. So if you don't want to display your graph to the audience, you can just remove this check mark. It keeps the graph in there for you to see, but when you're in the actual presentation, doing your presentation, this graph will not appear. And you can show results during polling or after polling. For my example, I'm going to change this one to during polling so you can see what it looks like. The default is after, and what that means is once you collected all the response and you close polling, the graph is going to appear. But during polling is different. Question's going to come up, the graph's going to come up. As the responses are coming in, you're going to see that graph fluctuate. So I'll keep this one set that way. So let's do another quick recap, and then we'll do another short pause for some additional questions. All right, so we're going to be building a PowerPoint presentation today using TurningPoint. So we're going to select and open TurningPoint first. Once it does that, we're going to select our polling environment, PowerPoint polling. TurningPoint will then open up PowerPoint for us. We're either going to open up a existing presentation or we're going to start our presentation from scratch. We're going to go about business as normal. Once it comes time in your presentation that you want to insert an interactive slide, you're going to select the Turning Point ribbon at the very top. We're then going to come to the very top left-hand corner where it says New. Select the type of question you would like to ask. We're going to do true, false. It will insert a slide into our presentation for us automatically. All we have to do then is come to where it says Enter Question Text, click on it, type in our question. Because it's true, false, the answers are already generated for us. So then all we have to do is come over to the right-hand side, determine what the correct answer is. Once we mark that correct answer, then determine, do you want to display that correct answer to the audience or you just want to keep it private? If you do want to display that correct answer to the audience, come up to the top left-hand corner where it says Objects, Correct Answer Indicator, and select which one you'd like to use. It inputs this for us automatically. Now this correct answer indicator, all it is an image, so you can adjust the size, adjust the color, the font, the location of it as you wish. Once you're done with that, you are set and ready to go. Now I do want to give an extra thing because an extra comment. The first slide I selected was a demographic assignment slide. You'll notice this looks like a normal multiple choice question slide. It works the exact same way. The only difference is when we go over the reports and the analytics, I'm going to be able to filter all of my data I've collected from my audience members by these demographics. So it keeps track of that in the back end, which I'll show you in the reports. All right, let's pause for a moment, see if any questions have come in. Can you change the color of these objects? Green may be a problem for students with colorblind deficiencies. Yes. So the correct answer indicators are just normal images. So you could right click on them, change the color, change the font. Like I said, you could upload custom images if you'd like. You could even put the word on there correct if you wanted to, right, as an image. You discussed the clock feature. So you do give you underneath the objects drop down, there is a countdown timer. This will put a countdown timer on your slide. I personally prefer the adjustable one right here. It puts it, you can set the default timing in the actual preferences, or you can just come over on the right hand side because this Turning Point slide pane, there's two tabs at the top, slide, where you can customize the specific slide, and then objects, where you can customize the objects. So here's where you can adjust the time. You can set a little noise, like a Jeopardy kind of music if you wanted to. All right, how do you change the color? So this is just a normal object. So you just click on it, right click on it, and you should be able to change it. Let's see. There you go. So let's do bright red. There you go. Great question so far, guys. All right, there doesn't appear to be any more questions, so let's carry on. So now once you're done building your presentation, okay, and I actually highly recommend doing this while you're building your presentation, make sure you save it. Okay, nothing like spending an hour time building something and forgetting to save it. So I do recommend doing this as you're actually building your presentation. Even when you first initially start your presentation, you should save it. So you're going to save this just like you would any other normal PowerPoint. You come up to the top left-hand corner where it says File, Save, Save As, give it a destination, give it a name, make it your own. and then hit the save button. Nope, no dashes or forward slashes. There we go. And then once you're done building your presentation, you could exit out of it. You're done for the day. Go home, relax. Tomorrow's the big presentation. Now let's pretend it is the day of our presentation. So I'm going to close everything down. Okay. So we're going to walk into our meeting, our classroom, our training room. We're going to walk up to the podium, get our computer, turn it on, open it up. Now, if your audience members are going to be using response cards, the clickers that you purchased from us, if they're going to be using the hardware clickers, first thing they're going to want to do is those hardware clickers came with a receiver. It looks like a normal flash drive, has Turning Technologies written on it. You're going to plug that into the computer. Next, you are going to open and launch the TurningPoint software. We're going to sign in with our credentials. First thing we're going to do, once it signs in and we are open up to our TurningPoint dashboard, we're going to come to the top left-hand corner where it says receiver. Right now mine says receiver 45. This number receiver represents the channel that my receiver is set to. So each one of these receivers has a range of 200 feet and can be set to 82 different channels. Now, if you were giving a presentation and there is someone within 200 feet of you also utilizing our technology, please make sure that you are on different channels. And tell you the truth, they might not even be using the technology. They could just have the receiver plugged in. But if it's on the same channel of yours, it's going to cause interference. Now, by default, we ship out all of our hardware, receivers, response cards on the same channel, channel 41. It is extremely easy to change the channel. All you have to do is click on the number. So right now, mine says 45. I click on it. It is going to open up our preferences, taking you directly to the receiver. There we go. So here's our receiver. There's my channel, 45. Just click on it. You can change it up to 1 to 82 different channels. Once you have it set to whatever you'd like it to be, hit the close button. Verify that the change did happen. Now, if you did change the channel of the receiver, you also have to change the channel of the response cards. Very easy, very simple, very quick process. Every response card that we have has a channel button on it. You're going to press the channel button. You're going to press the number of the channel you want it to be on, and then the channel button again. So for my example, I'm going to press channel, 45 channel, and it's done. Very simple. If your participants are going to be using web-enabled devices, so smartphones, tablets, laptops, pretty much anything that could open up a web browser can be transformed into a virtual clicker. If your audience member is going to be using those type of devices, you want to come up to on the right-hand side where it says mobile responses enable, and you're going to select the enable button. A new window is going to open up where it says session ID. To tell you the truth, the first time you do this, it's going to say session ID random. So a session ID is a unique identifier that identifies me as the presenter to all of my audience members. You could reserve up to 10 custom session IDs. Now, these session IDs are not attached to any specific PowerPoint presentation, any type of self-paced or anything like that. All it is a unique identifier. So you could use the same session ID for PowerPoint, self-paced, anywhere polling, no attached connection depending on what you're giving a presentation on. It's just a unique identifier. So like I said, you can reserve up to 10 custom session IDs. To reserve one, just click the reserve button, type in whatever you want it to be, hit the reserve button. Once you do that, that session ID is going to appear in this drop-down menu. Select the one you like to use. I'm not going to lie, I use the same one for everything. It's my last name. Very simple, easy to use. Select it. There are some additional session options because they are using a web-enabled device. You can have it prompt for their first name, last name, user ID, email address. It basically creates a participant list for you. You can make these fields required, optional, or don't show. For my example, which is going to be a live section, if you'd like to join, I'm just going to have it prompt for your first name. It's just going to be optional. Once you have that set up, you hit the save button. It takes you back here, and then you can just hit start session. I am going to pause for a moment. any questions so far with setting up and getting ready to give your first interactive presentation? Perfect. No questions. So let's continue on. So once we have our session ID selected here, we're going to select Start Session. A new window is going to pop up. You could move it off screen if you'd like. It does have some basic information on it. Your session ID, who you are, duration, number of connections, your signal strength. Like I said, you can move it off screen or you can hit the close button. For my example, I just like to move it off screen to my other monitor. So let's do another recap, right? We walk into the room that we're going to be giving our presentation today. If the audience members are going to be using hardware clickers, we make sure we plug that receiver into our computer. We then launch TurningPoint. We verify that we have a receiver with a number being found here. If it doesn't recognize or see your receiver, it's going to say none. Okay? Unplug it, plug it back in, see if it finds it. So you want to verify that you have a channel being displayed here. You also then want to verify that your audience members with the clickers are on the same exact channel. If your audience members are going to be using web-enabled devices, we come over to mobile responses, click the enable, and make sure a session ID is being displayed. Next, we're going to come up to the top right-hand side where it says, mine says 10,000 seats. This number represents the maximum number of people that I could pull at any given time. So mine says 10,000. That means I could give a presentation with up to 10,000 people. If you're not seeing a number there, it means you don't have any licensing assigned to your email address. So once we verify that information, we're going to select our polling environment that we're going to be using, PowerPoint polling. I know I sound like a broken record. It will open up PowerPoint for you. From there, we're just going to open up our presentation that we're going to be running today. This is the one we just created. Let it load. Now this next section is very important. So if you want to write it down, highlight it, get it tattooed to the back of your wrist so you remember to do this at all times, please do so. So once your PowerPoint presentation with TurningPoint slides opens up, the very first thing you're going to want to do is reset the session. So I'm going to show you what this does. So select the TurningPoint ribbon at the top. Below it and to the right in the inch is the reset button. This reset button resets your presentation. So it's going to take all of these graphs and take them back down to 0. So reset session. It's a relatively quick process. If you can't remember if you reset, not 100% sure, just reset again. Like I said, it's very important that you do this. It's not going to hurt anything if you do it multiple times. When in doubt, always reset. Once you reset your presentation, you're going to treat this just like any other normal PowerPoint. Go up to slideshow, go from beginning, from current. All right, so now we're going to go over to what it's going to be like to be a participant using a web-enabled device. Like I said, this session is live, so if you guys wouldn't mind joining in just to answer a few questions to show the graphs pop up, that would be fantastic. There's 2 ways to connect using a web-enabled device. The first way, you could go to any app store, Android or Apple, and download the TurningPoint app. It is free. The other option is to simply direct people to the website www.rwpoll.com. Once you get to that website, it's going to say, welcome to TurningPoint. It's going to prompt you for that session ID. It is my last name, CURL. And then once you select the next button, it's going to say to enter your first name. If you remember, I set that up as optional, so you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. And then it's going to say polling is closed, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to connect, and this is a perfect opportunity if you do have any questions as well. Now I do have, remember I do have that window that pops up, shows me the number of people that are connected. And I can just move that back off screen. Now this slide right here, because I do get a lot of questions about this, TurningPoint does not auto-generate this slide. This is just a normal PowerPoint slide that I put all the information in. The way I like to use this is as people are coming into the meeting room, I have this being displayed. A lot of times you don't have to say anything. They see this, they're just going to automatically do it on their devices. All right, I got 3 connections. That should be good. Thank you so much for participating in this. Like I said, I'm not really going to be paying attention to the reports or anything like that to use it against you in any way. Just basically to show and gather some information so you see what it looks like as a participant as well. So once we're in normal PowerPoint mode, you're just going to treat this just like any other normal PowerPoint. Space bar, enter button, arrow keys, whatever you would normally do to progress through your presentation, continue doing it. Goes about your normal slides. As soon as you come to a turning point slide, polling is going to automatically open up for you. There is a show bar. Let me move it on screen so you can see it. This show bar displays polling is open in green. It displays the number of responses I received so far. There are a bunch of little icons on here as well that are shortcuts. You can minimize it if you like. Click on the left of it, you can move it anywhere you want. It does tend to remember its last known position. So if you move it off screen and the next time you start a presentation and you don't see it, don't freak out. Just look on your other screen. It's there. I did have a question earlier during the presentation asking if there was a way to insert a question like during the fly. There is on this little show bar. There's this icon right here. You can do a multiple choice, short answer, numerical response. You can even do competitions like leaderboards and custom as well. You could also insert a countdown timer on the fly too. So once you see the number of responses that are come in, just simply progress through that presentation again, space bar, enter button, arrow key. It's going to automatically close the polling. So now once it's closed, your participants are no longer going to be able to respond. It instantly displays that graph. And then for the individuals that are using web-enabled devices, it displays a similar looking graph to it. And then when you're ready to go to the next slide, space bar, enter button, arrow key, whatever you would normally do takes care of it. Now, if you guys remember correctly, I do have this one set up that as you make your selection, the graph is going to change live with it until I close polling. So I'll give you guys a second if you want to change your answers a few different times to see the graph change. And then once you are happy with the responses, simply progress that presentation again. It's going to close the polling, lock in the responses. Now notice it didn't display that correct answer indicator right away. That I like the fact that it does this. That way if you do ask a question, let's say a majority of the people get it wrong, you can come up over here, have a group discussion, break everybody up into teams, do a peer instruction, debate why they think the answer is a certain way, come back up on the show bar, hit the little green circle button, and re-poll that question again. What's great about this, it saves the first time you ask the question and the second time you ask the question. So when you go into the reports, we have a special report card comparative links that will allow you to compare the first and the second time together. Thank you. I'm going to close the polling, closes it down, press that space bar, enter button, arrow key one more time to progress the correct answer indicator, and there it is. So let's do another quick recap. I know this may seem repetitive, but I want to make sure you guys are understanding everything. So we're going to be giving our presentation today. Walk up, set up in the podium, turn on our computer. If the audience members are going to be using hardware clickers, you want to plug that receiver into your computer. We're going to launch TurningPoint, sign in with our credentials. It opens up our TurningPoint dashboard. We want to verify in the top left that we have a channel number being displayed for the receiver that matches up with the channels on the response cards. If we're going to be using web-enabled devices, because you can use both response cards and web-enabled devices at the same time. Okay. So if we're going to be using web-enabled devices, come to the top right-hand corner, make sure a session ID is being displayed. Next, we're going to verify that we have a number of seats being displayed as well. We are then going to select our polling environment, PowerPoint polling. It will open and launch PowerPoint for us. Once PowerPoint is open, we're going to open up our presentation like normal. As soon as the PowerPoint presentation is done loading, we're going to come up to the Turning Point ribbon and reset the session. Once you reset the session, you're going to go into slideshow mode just like normal and carry on with your presentation. Any questions so far? And just so you guys know, I am in northeastern Ohio and it is snowing. Although it's our first snow of the year. Not bad for December 12th. And here's our countdown timer. We actually have control of when this pops up just by progressing through your presentation. We'll start the timer. And the reason why we decided to do it this way is, let's say, for example, you do ask a question that is relatively lengthy. This way you're not penalizing slow readers. As soon as it hits 0, polling automatically closes and displays that graph for us. And there's our correct answer indicator. That is red. And let me show you how to insert a question on the fly too, just because that was asked. You're going to come up to the little, I guess it's kind of a box with a green plus sign in it. Press it. I like to do custom. A new window is going to pop up where you can type in your question. And then hit insert, and it inserts the slide for us. Now, once you are done running your presentation, correct answer too. Hope I spelled that right. Once you are done running your presentation, before you leave the podium and start thanking people for showing up, you want to come up to the Turning Point ribbon. Directly below it is the Save button. This Save button right here saves the data you've collected from your audience. New window is going to open up. We should all be familiar with this. Choose a destination for it. You can't keep it in its default session folder underneath Turning Point, but that is completely up to you. Make it your own. Hit the Save button. Now, once you save your presentation here, if you added additional slides during your presentation, additional question slides, make sure you save it the old-fashioned way as well, because this only saves the data you've collected from your audience. It does not save your presentation. So go up to File, Save, Save As. Any questions so far? Any questions with running your presentation before we go over the reports? No questions, so let's carry on. Exit out of your presentation. So once you're done giving your presentation, you save it, exit out of it, you're done for the day, go to the bar, relax, hang out with some friends. Now, initially, once you exit out of the presentation, it does take you directly to the reports, but I want to show you how to find this as if it was a week later or a year later. So when you open up Turning Point, it loads up our Turning Point dashboard, but there are 3 tabs at the top. There's polling, which is the default view. There's content. So the content tab, this is where you're going to create question lists for our anywhere polling or self-paced. And then there's our manage tab. The manage tab is where we're going to manage participant lists, courses, Your roster, this is also where you're going to manage your reporting. Now, we call the reporting files session files. So over on the left-hand side, the little blue people, these are going to be your courses. And then underneath them, the little drop-down menu, are your session files. Now, because I wasn't using a course list, it's just going to be underneath auto. So scroll down to the one we just ran together, public class. Here it is right here. Select it. Over on the right-hand side, it gives us some basic overview, the average score, number of responders, number of questions. You can click on the reports, and it's going to open up our reporting. So here we are, is results by question. So over in the top right-hand corner, you could change the different types of views we have, different types of reports. Below that, you could customize the specific report you're looking at. So if you want statistics, you could put them in there. If you don't like statistics, you can remove it. We do color code the graphs. So blue graphs are for questions that do not have a correct or incorrect response. Green is correct, red is incorrect. We do put a C in parentheses for correct answers for the colorblind. Give the average score. These reports are completely exportable. You could export as a CSV, Excel, HTML. They're also print friendly, and they pretty much print off exactly the same way they look. So if you wanted to create a PDF, you could do this. Although my PDF software is kind of needs updated. So here it is right here. And then you come to the top right-hand corner and change the report. So let's do results by participant. Here we go. Same color coding. C for correct. It will be a I for incorrect responses. Here we go. Here is our results by detail, which is more of a condensed view. Here's our results by demographic. So the way this works is below has our demographic question, what department are you in, with our answer choices. And then to filter the data, you just remove the check marks. So if I just want to see how the training department answers my questions, I remove all the check marks except training, and it filters it for us instantly. And then we have a demographic comparison where it allows you to compare all the demographics in one. So what day is it? We had a person from the human resources that says it's Monday. We had a person from the training department that said it was Tuesday, and someone from another department said it was Tuesday as well. And then we have our comparative results. Like I said, this is the example where you could ask a question. If the majority of people get it wrong, you can re-ask that exact question. It keeps track of the first time and the second time, so this is great for pre and post questioning. Question came in. If I have questions in the PowerPoint I didn't get to, do they show up on the session results? I, I'm not 100% sure on this. I want to say 85, 90% sure that they will not show up. It's only going to show up for the slides that you actually ask questions to. Any questions pertaining to the reports, analytics? Doesn't appear to be any questions, so let's carry on. Now, our website is an amazing resource to have. If you go to turningtechnologies.com, come on, load up. Well, this is loading. A question did come in. about how to get an Excel file with just participants and scores. Let's see. So you can go to the results by detail, and let's see. There you go. Change the question results to none, and then you can show the total points and the scores. Let's see. What if I use the same PowerPoint during a second session to get those questions I didn't get to the first time? The results of the first polling exist in the second session of the results. So that's going to depend on how you set it up. So let's say you run a session in the morning, you save that session file, and then in the afternoon, class comes in. There is a button to continue a presentation. Oops. Yeah, so let's say we ran a presentation in the morning. Okay, it's a lengthy presentation. We didn't get to all of my questions, so I want to pick it up after lunch. So I can open up Turning Point, select the polling environment, PowerPoint polling, select the Turning Point ribbon, and over to the right is the Continue button, and then you can actually pull up that session file. Although I don't know where I saved that, so we'll just give an example of it. Just say this one and hit Open, and it's going to open up that presentation from earlier. This is the only time that you do not reset the session, the only time. But once you hit that continue button, load up the presentation, select where you last left off on, and go into presentation mode just like normal. Good questions, guys. So our website, like I said, has a wealth of information onto it. If you go to turningtechnologies.com, there is a support tab right here. Here is our turning point information, everything underneath it. So we have user guides, step-by-step instructions how to do everything. There are training webinars, which you guys already know about because you signed up for one of them. And then we also have video tutorials. Basically, you can watch 3 videos and learn everything I just went over today. What I end up using the most, anytime someone sends me an email asking how to do something like, hey, Dave, how do I create a participant list? What I end up doing is I come to support, I click on user guides, I scroll down past everything where it says not finding what you're looking for, select the type of computer I'm using, so a personal computer. It will then load up help.turningtechnologies.com. There's a lot of information here. This is kept up to date frequently. There's little tabs on the left. But the way I use this is I come up to the top right-hand corner where it says search, and I just type in really what I'm looking for. So let's do participant list. Hit the enter button. It's going to give me all the fields regarding participant list, kind of read which ones kind of pertain to which one pertains to me. So here's how to create a participant list. Click on it. Do I want to create? Do I want to modify? Demographics, manage. I want to create, so I hit create. Let's see, I want to manually create a participant list. Click it right there. Step-by-step instructions how to do everything. There are pictures. You click on them, makes them big, click back on them again, shrinks them back down. Question came in, is it recommended to create a participant list? That is really up to you and how you want to run your session. You can, you don't have to. Are you looking to collect the data from the audience and attach it to a specific person? Like, do you want to know how John Smith asked or answered those specific questions? Then, yeah, a participant list would probably be good. If you're just looking to see, all right, out of 200 people, how many of them are from the training department and how many of them answered that today was Tuesday, but you don't really care who answered, we're kind of looking for the overall information, then you don't necessarily need a participant list. If you do decide to use a participant, there are some really neat features. I just want everybody to know, though, that kind of really does conclude our PowerPoint training. I will stay on the line answering some additional questions. Like I'm going to go over some, I'll go over some cool things with the participant list if you're interested. But if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email, give me a call. I just want you guys to utilize the technology as much as possible. So whatever you need from me and my team at the Client Success, just let us know. We'll make it happen. All right. So let's go over some additional topics with, for example, the participant list information. So there are some really neat things you can do with participant list. So once you have the Turning Point ribbon selected, there's this little participant window right here. And this is where you can actually select this drop-down menu and select a participant list. Let's do, I think there's people in this one. Let's see. So you can do something we call a real-time registration. So the way this works is it displays 10 names at a time, okay? And then you're going to be able to press the play button. Since you guys are connected to the session, you can actually do this live. So let's say, for example, my name is Jim. So I see my name, Jim, and I see the number 1 next to it. So on my clicker or my web-enabled device, I press the number 1, and then it is going to assign my unique device ID to Jim. So that assigns that clicker to me. Since you have more than 10, just use the little arrow buttons at the bottom to go to the next set of 10. So I wouldn't recommend doing this for probably more than 50 people, just because you're going to be going 5 different times over. But for smaller groups, this is a great, easy way to do it. So that's a way to personalize the clickers. Another way you could do it, let's go over creating a participant list. So to create a participant list, you go to the Manage tab, and then Course, and then New, and then manually give it a name. Hit Create Course. It's going to load up something that looks like an Excel document. So first name, last name. This is where you're going to assign the specific device IDs to individuals if you like. So each one of those clickers has a unique device ID on the back. It's usually a 5-digit number. So the clicker I have in my hand, it's just simply 5D596D. That way, when I use this specific course list, the individual that has this clicker is going to be their name, first and last. You can add additional columns to this. You can also add demographics in here. If you have it in a normal Excel document, you could import it in here as well. A lot of times, it's much simpler just to highlight all the fields in Excel and copy and paste it in. So hopefully this is all making sense. What other questions do we have? Yep, an individual just gets their clickers today, so that's exciting news. You're going to love this stuff. Uh, the attention span for adults is 7 minutes, so try to throw an interactive slide into your presentation every 7 minutes. Uh, Throw a required one in there, throw a fun one in there as well, right? Keep it fun. The more people are engaged, the more they're going to be learning, and this is really a great tool. You can do a lot of cool things with it. That seems to be all the questions. I want to thank you so much for attending my public class for PowerPoint polling. Like I said earlier, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll make sure the client success leader for your division or organization reaches out promptly. Just go out there, use the technology. The best advice I give you is just go out there, start using it, jumping right into it, start building your presentation. Oh, the question came in. Students in my class are required to purchase a clicker code for use with a clicker or a web-enabled device. For web devices, do they enter this number as well? So when they go into creating their Turning Technologies account, I'm trying to remember how to do this for the college side. So I usually just deal with the corporations and military government. It's a little bit different. So give me a second to think about this. So they go into their Turning Technologies student account. They're going to put in their coupon code for the clicker, and then I think they sign in with their web-enabled device. Barbara, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one just because I'm not 100%, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. So give me one second. Let me write down your name. I'm almost positive it's all done right there in front of them. I know it pops right up in front of them. So there shouldn't be any confusion about it. Three windows pop up. It asks for your license code, it asks for your clicker code, and then it asks for a web-enabled device. So it is kind of self-explanatory. Actually, Barbara, if you just want to hang tight for a minute or two, I want to ask somebody, and I'll be right back. Just because I don't want to give you the wrong answer. I want to make sure I'm 100% correct. So give me 1 second. So apologize about that delay. So what the students are going to do is they're going to download the Turning Technologies, the Turning Point app, and then they're actually going to sign into their student account through the app, and then it syncs everything up together. Any other questions, guys? Hopefully everyone is happy. If you do get a survey, make sure you give me the thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure in the comment section you say that I need a raise. It was a pleasure working with you all today. Have a wonderful holiday. Thank you. Bye.